boards are bending. This is getting scary looking, guys. This is getting scary looking. I built this thing, guys, for putting on little two-frame mating nooks. And of course they went off, you know, got mated, came back, and they blew up fast. And so I put them, I still needed a stand, so I put them on. And boy, they're bringing in pollen, guys, like crazy here. I love it. They're bringing in pollen. These hives are really fattening up. All of these are scary looking, guys. I did this just strictly for, you know, two framers, but now it's gotten carried away, and this whole thing is I'm gonna come out here one morning. This thing's gonna be an upside down mess. So what do we do? What do we do, guys? Here's what we're gonna do. Oh, look at here, brand new pallet. They had about 5 of these out there, guys. You can put quite a few hives on one of these things. This new stand is going right here, actually right there, okay? I could put quite a few in this area, but I want to treat this bottom. Termites will have this thing for lunch, guys. All right, so here's what I got. I got about 3.5 gallons of diesel fuel, and I've got some of this blackjack roof cement. Now, I did this back in the early 70s. This worked good. I palletized. I made a homemade Killi Boom with forks and electric winch, and it had a track on it. I used a barn door track on it, and I had a socket welded in. I had a flatbed truck, I don't know, it was a 1-ton truck, and I put a socket in there, and then I had a boom going up over, and the boom came out just a little past my tailgate. Anyway, it lift one hive at a time. I had cleats under the hives, and then what I did, I just threw pallets down. I'd go to my site first with a bunch of pallets, throw them down in lanes, like lanes here and over there, to where I could back my truck in. And then I would just stab them off my flatbed truck right onto those pallets, and that worked good. I did that for quite a while until I got up right around 100 hives. I said, oh, this is not gonna work. No. I gotta get a forklift. So I built a forklift in my carport. It took me about 8 months, and I built a forklift out of a 75 Chevrolet half-ton pickup. I chopped the thing down, made a cab for it. The front end was actually the rear end of the thing. I ran chain driven, number 50 chain. I put on a sprocket over to the right side. I had a jack shaft running down to the steering box. And then I went to a forklift company that was going out of business, and the timing was perfect on it. The guy had some old junk forklifts there, and one I got to looking at it, and I said, man, that's the perfect size boom I need. The hydraulic boom, forklift boom. I told the guy what I was doing. He looked at me like I was an alien from another planet, but anyway, he was packing up his operation and heading to a new location in Tampa. I says, what do you want for this rig here? You know, the engine's shot, everything's shot. It had flat tires on everything. I don't know. He says, 150 bucks. I said, sold. I said, but I just need the hydraulics. I need the pump, hydraulic pump off the engine, and I need the mast. I need the mast. He said, fine. I said, do you mind if I come in with my cutting torches and cut this mast off? Knock yourself out. So that's what I did. That thing works slick, guys. It really, and I kicked myself in the butt when I sold out my bees there, when our corrupt government let China and Brazil flood our market, and I went from $1 a pound to 48 cents a pound, and I threw in the towel and I sold out. And I let that forklift go. Man, do I wish I had that thing today. Of course, I'm not going to get into big time beekeeping again, but just for moving stuff around and whatnot, that thing was slick. Anyway, that's history. It's gone. So what I did was made 4-way clip pallets. If you go out there and look at clip pallets for commercial beekeeping, you can buy those clips at Man Lake and different outfits, and you make your own pallets. And I bought PT for the runners. For the runners I bought PT 3/4 2x4 is what I bought. And then I made my pallets. I had plywood decking on it. It's a custom pallet you build, and you put 4 hives. I was running all 10 frame equipment at the time, and I had enough. You make a special pallet. If you're running 8s, you design your pallets to where you're running, just the 8s, and you run 4 hives per pallet. Works very good, very good. It's the only way to really go if you're going to get into commercial beekeeping, which a lot of you guys may do down the road. But what I did for treating the pallets, was I went to I had a steel manufacturer around the corner where I lived, and I had them boys build me a tank that was 1/8 of an inch thick, and it was 4 foot square, and the sides were 1 foot high. And I told them, I said, this thing's got to be waterproof, watertight. And I told them what I was doing, and again, I got the look like, oh my Lord, this guy's from another planet. But anyway, that tank worked beautifully. I took it home, went out back, and I put it on concrete blocks. I think I was 2 blocks high, as I remember it. And I filled that thing with diesel fuel up to about, I would say within 6 inches of the top. I kept that thick, about that much material in there, about 6 inches from the lid. And then I put diesel fuel in there, and then I put this stuff in here. I think I dumped 5 gallons of this in that tank. Then I built a fire under that thing and heated that material up. As it was heating, just a little wood fire. I saved all my trim wood and all that, and that's the wood I used to fire up that tank. And I set a small wood fire right under the center of that tank up under there. And yeah, you got to be careful. If you hit flash point on that thing, you'll have a bomb go off. I mean, So I kept it. It was so hot you couldn't put your hand in it, okay? But I kept a small fire, and if I saw it getting a little crazy, you rake out some coals. I had a hook that I could rake out some coals. And then I had a piece of plywood standing there that I could drop. If the thing ever ignited, I could come around the back side and drop it. It never did. I never had a flash off on it. But I would cook them pallets in there in that hot tar and diesel, this tar and that diesel mixture for about 10 minutes. Yeah, for about 10 minutes. And then what I did before I did any of that, fire or anything, I took a 2-inch pipe and I dug a hole, a good size hole. I wanted to, there's a lot of weight hanging out there on this thing. I built a boom, a pivoting boom. And you can do the same thing. It works slick. Took a 2-inch pipe, galvanized pipe, 3 foot long, and I dug a good sized hole. It was probably a good foot around. And so it had good bit of mass to the concrete. It's probably totally overkill what I did, but anyway, I wanted something I didn't want to tilt or tip. And then I took another piece. It was up about, I think, 3 feet, as I recall, and then I took another piece of piping, whatever it was, 1.25 inches, whatever, that would go down inside the 2-inch. The top portion that's going to swing, the boom, I drilled a hole slap through it, the 2-inch, and I stuck that inch in, I think it was 1.25 inches, as I recall, inside. It could have been 2, it could have been 1.5 inches, whatever will slide in there decent, you know. You slid that in. I left about 6 inches of piping hanging below. So that pipe was about 1 foot long that I inserted in the 2-inch. Then I got my welder on the side and I welded those 2 holes. I think I welded drilled 3/8 holes to where I get in with my electrode and tack that on both sides to secure that inner pipe. Then I took another pipe. I think it was about, I'm trying to think, it had to have been a good 3 foot long. You just need something that's standing off to the side here a little bit of your tank. You have to build a boom, and then I adjusted it, you know, with the size of my pallet, because you want the boom top of that pipe to end up in the center of your tank. So you just adjust that before you cement this piping and the stub down in the ground. Then all I did was take a boat winch, your cheap boat winch, and I out here comfortable height on the riser pipe, right? And I attached that. I came up to the top, and I right where the 45, where my center point was, and then I came up at a 45. I just took some cold rolled shafting. I think it was 3/4 cold rolled shafting. Right at that 45 junction, I welded a piece there with 2 small 3/4 cold roll shafts looking straight up. I did the same thing at the end of the boom. No pulleys, no pulley, didn't need a pulley. It's just a cable was riding on that cold roll shaft, up over. I put a hook on the end of the cable, which is already on the cable. If you buy those boat winches, they're already on. You can get them at Harbor Freight, they're very cheap. And then I dropped chain. I bought some cheap chain. I think it was like 5/16 chain. And then I took some 1-inch, seemed like it was 1 inch by 1/4 inch, probably overkill again. But I came out with a flat angle, and I came down and made a hook. I made hooks, just a couple of bends on it, and 2 bends on the end of that bar. It was probably, I'm thinking, about 4 inches long or 6 inches long with those 2 bends to make a hook. So it just goes up underneath your pallet. So those chains, and then I had the chains hanging down. Those chains were probably, I'm going to guess they were about probably 2 feet in length. Whatever is comfortable to get out there and hook those pallets. So yeah, I could on the ground over here, swing my boom over, I grab my fresh pallet with those hooks, crank it up in the air, swing it right over to the center of your tank, and lower it right in the soup, in the tar soup, and let it bubble in there. I would mix, this stuff would settle out a little bit when it got cold, the tank got cold, so you put your fire under there, and you get you a big old long stick, and you just, on this deal here, I'm going to mix it with this little piece of pallet wood here. I'm going to mix this up. And yeah, I'd sit there and stir that up. And when she got good and hot, I would, of course, you want to wear rubber gloves when you're doing this stuff. And an apron. I got an apron, some rubber gloves here. And I just go through them. A whole stack of those pallets. That thing, guys, they looked like they were walnut stained. And that wood, I cut into the wood too to see the penetration, and it went right in there. I boiled them about 10 minutes. And I used that for years. And them pallets I used for years. Termites never ate them things up. So it's just a little trick you can do. I'm going to use it for this. I'm just going to hand apply it with that brush. I'm just going to apply it to the bottom here. I'm going to come up along here. I'm going to stand it up to do it. This is the top of the deck here where the hives will sit. This is the bottom. And I'm going to keep this thing up like this. I don't want this material slopped over on this decking here, because I'm not cooking this stuff in. And I've got screens on all these hives, are screen bottoms. And I'm going to let it gas off here for a few days before I put the bees on it. But I'm getting puckered up on this because I can see this plywood is bowing, and that is, as these things top out, I could have over 400 pounds of weight on that, on those little rebars there and stuff. It's not a good scenario at all. So before I have a catastrophe, and what I'll do is one morning, get out here early in the morning, daybreak, I'll fire up a smoker, pump them a little bit, and get them over on this pallet. They'll be good to go. All right, guys, that's it for today. You're getting your Stevo 24/7, and yeah, your daily dose of Stevo. So just a little something else you can do cheaply. Put your bees on a cheap stand, and your termites will not eat her up. I'll catch you on the next one, guys. See ya.